Huot can still kill a lot of players, so here's my tier list of the guns that slay, and of course the guns that don't, including one that totally stops you from seeing the enemy when you fire. We're kicking off strong with the Lewis gun. As always, we're grouping the different variants together to give them an overall score. So we have the excellent Lewis gun suppressive, optical and low weight variants here. An iconic gun from the Great War, but also super effective, with 47 or 97 rounds per reload depending on the variant. Also relatively stable and powerful, our first gun gets an A on the tier list. I love this weapon, such a reliable choice. Now let me ask you, do you like this kind of content? I'd love it if you consider subscribing, because I put Battlefield stuff out all the time so you can stay on top of the game as we head into Battlefield 6. Next gun, M1909 Benet-Mercie Storm, optical and telescopic. Our first hint of controversy, as this is a gun that some people love because it's so easy to use, very little recoil and no real mechanical requirement in terms of staying still whilst firing, burst firing or anything like that. But to balance out that ease of use, it has to have a relatively poor combination of rate of fire and damage output, leading to it not being a very potent choice. Because of this, I give it a D, which will outrage some people. You can call me out for it in the comments as long as you call me beautiful while you do it. On to gun 3, the Madsen, trench, storm and low weight variants. This is an awesome machine gun with one massive drawback. This thing. Damn huge magazine sticking out of the top of it, obstructing your view. Now it bothers me a lot less than most people apparently, so I'm still going to rate it pretty high, but it will knock off some points regardless. Now if you sprint with it, your soldier holds it lower, allowing you to actually see what's in front of you. That isn't going to convince most people to give it a go though. I'm going to drop it to the B tier. I know a lot of you will have it lower, feel free to tell me, but I do actually like the gun. Next up, another gun I like, the MG15, suppressive, storm and low weight variants. This was my first support gun that I labelled as my favourite about 9 years ago, and I still think fondly of it. That said, I never really choose to use it anymore. I view it as the solid, does everything okay machine gun for support. I can't really give it a super high grade if I just don't decide to actually use it now, so I'll drop it into C. It basically becomes our mid-level benchmark, the gatekeeper between the bad and the good. A decent gun, but with a bit of recoil and not as lethal as some other options. On to our next gun, and it's a very good one, the BAR. There are actually 4 variants of this, not 3. The trench, the storm, the telescopic, and the M1918A2. And I would have put this right into the S tier if it was just a storm and trench variant. This is often a go-to aggressive support option when you want to drop lots of kills and get up close. It's very lethal and can compete with many assault guns in CQC. A really fun gun to use. That being said, the telescopic is just weird and kind of redundant a lot of the time, and the M1918A2 is utterly pointless in my opinion, 99% of the time. A BAR that can have a slower fire rate if you want, but you have to remember to change the fire rate on to avoid it. Why? If you want range lethality, then just pick the telescopic or a better long range gun outright. If you don't have the M1918A2, I think it's because it was a BF5 pre-order bonus gun, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, those 2 variants drag the BAR down into the A tier. Still a really good gun though. Now for a quick moment here, I'm trying to produce more videos like this, and in order to do that I need to not be streaming almost every single day, which I currently do here on YouTube. So I have a Patreon in the description if you want to support for that, for more videos, lowest tiers like £5 or dollars a month. Your choice, no pressure. Thank you very much anyone that signs up. Alright, next gun. It's called the Huot, low weight and optical variants. I don't even know if people like this gun or not at this point. I feel like I barely ever see it, and when it came out, almost everyone said it sucked as the rank 10 unlock for support, but a while back I made a short about it saying it was unpopular and yet I thought it was good, and a load of people flamed me saying it was the most popular support gun or some random bollocks. So whatever, it's good, I like it, but it sucks when you or the enemy have high ping, as slower rate of fire weapons always suffer when that's the case. And because that's so frequent an occurrence now, especially on Xbox, which I play on, it gets knocked down, so I give it a B. It would be a B-, but that would ruin the aesthetics of my tier list, so just a B. Next, Chauchat, also a great gun when the game is working optimally. A real hard hitter, feels satisfying to use and has a great sound. I used to love this thing. It has a low weight and telescopic variant, and the telescopic is just so good for nailing down sight lines. Put 2 or 3 bullets in people and down they go. Poof, more dead for World War I. But again, ping issues knock it down, so it also goes into B, a very solid placing regardless. On to the Parabellum next, low weight and suppressive variants. Absolutely mental support option this one, for when you just want to throw as many rounds downrange as possible. Firing at approximately 1 billion rounds per minute, that stat is somewhere close to accurate I think. Obviously this one shreds enemies, but due to that, it can be very unwieldy. That recoil really tries to throw you off sometimes. And thus, the suppressive variant is an option that you're recommended to stay stationary for and not try to be too expansive with your movements. All of that combined leads me to give the Parabellum an A fun, popular pick, but just not quite the top pick for this kind of playstyle in my opinion. Moving on, we have the Perino, low weight and defensive variant. This is the de facto lie down, stay down and plug away enemies in the distance choice. It's really good for that. And yes, that is a worthwhile weapon archetype to have. It is, however, pretty limiting because obviously if it's going to be good for that, it shouldn't really be good for much else. I guess you can also shoot at planes with it for nice sustained fire to irritate pilots, so that's a bonus. I'll give it a C. It's the unremarkable friend in your friendship group, but at least they always show up and they don't cause any drama. And it has a nice basket where you can reload in stages if you want, topping it up as you go. So again, another little bonus. Next, we have the M1917 MG with low weight and telescopic variants. I see this as being pretty similar to the previous option, the Perino, in terms of usage cases. Instead of chucking rounds into a basket though, here you just have a box where you reload all at once, and you can get a cool skin for it as well actually via an Easter egg. But the rest is honestly pretty much along the lines of what I said for the Perino. So let's get on with it and also give it a C grade. It's good at what it does without being very versatile. On to the LMG 08/18, low weight and suppressive variant. Remember when I gave the Parabellum an A and said it just wasn't my top choice for that playstyle? That's because this gun exists. Whilst it fires a bit more slowly, it's still a rapid fire rate, so has a very strong times kill, whilst being a whole lot easier to handle. So I present to you the aggressive run and gun LMG that can also be used for passive play and holding down lanes and angles. It's a brilliant gun, my current favourite support option, and it goes into the S tier as a truly standout weapon. It just does it all. And now we hit another excellent gun, the Burton LMR, trench and optical variants. I honestly don't think it matters which you use. It's a close range focus gun that can absolutely mix it with the big boys of the assault class. This thing rips enemies up, staggeringly lethal, great from the hip as well, and it has a bonus of an alternate fire mode, which provides incendiary rounds, doing extra damage to planes or the blimp behemoth. Actually, in my script here it says I've got it down as an A, but I'm changing my mind on the fly. It goes into the S tier along with the LMG 08, an aggressive support option that absolutely burns planes. Yeah, that's S tier, easily S tier for me. And so after 2 S tier guns, we now go on to a generationally terrible streak of awful weapons, starting with the C93 Carbine. It's bad, not a particularly great TTK, is basically a C96 pistol with a stock and an extended magazine with a few slight stat differences. Is that good enough for a primary weapon? Absolutely not. The sights are bad also, and you have to do a long reload of individual rounds if you don't fire off exactly like 10 or 20 rounds, so it gets a D. You may be wondering why it doesn't get an F, you'll find out soon enough. But next we have the P08 Artillery, another sidearm adapted to be a primary weapon basically. Very similar criticisms to the previous gun. It's not absolutely awful, but there's no need to beat around the bush. This also gets a D. And let's carry on the suck train with the Peeper. Yep, one of those guns that's a vehicle user weapon that you can also use on support if you just want to be a less efficient player. It's just bad. Honestly, you scroll down to the bottom of the support weapon list if you fancy some self-flagellation. Throw this onto the D tier pile along with the other scrap. If I had more tiers, it would go into E or something. I mean, this gun and these guns just suck. Let's do another one that sucks. M1911 Extended. Oh look, back to the sidearms masquerading as primary weapons category. That's just what it is again. Do you want to play on hard mode? Good, try this gun. It goes in the D tier, which is swiftly filling up with terrible options. Next up, MLE 1903 Extended. Yay, another sidearm adapted to be a primary. Can you guess what tier it goes into? Yes, it's the D tier. These probably could all go into F, but I wanted to reserve that for the worst thing I could imagine. So we come to the C93 Carbine. It's an abomination. Take the C93 pistol, adapt it to be a primary weapon, and throw in a whole heap of what am I even looking at as soon as you start to try to shoot the enemy whilst aiming down sight. Awful. God's gift to punishing yourself. It goes in the F tier. Cool. Check out the assault and medic tiers lists I've already done for BF1 if you enjoyed this one. Subscribe for more if you didn't do it earlier, for loads of tips, tricks, and all that sort of stuff. And YouTube is recommending another video of mine to you right now. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you if you signed up for the Patreon. See you soon.